for today's video, I'm super excited. I decided I would create another tag video. If you've been here before, did the vampire tag, which I will leave a link in the description below. Check it out if you're a fellow horror YouTuber. Do it and then let me know and I can add you to your playlist. So I'm super excited for this because obviously if you've been here before, you know my favorite franchise, favorite horror film of all time is Scream. And I searched and did not find a Scream specific tag, and I've been seeing people create different tags for different franchises and horror icons that they love, so I thought, why not create my own? And what better place to do it than in front of my old background. If you're new, you may have not seen this background before. I usually sit down to film just because it's a little bit easier, feels a little bit more relaxed when you're sitting down to film. But thought I'd bring it back to this area for this video specifically, and maybe I'll start doing that again. And I'm wearing this awesome Scream sweater. It's hot, it's like a bajillion degrees. But this sweater is from Nikki Lipstick. She no longer has it, but she does have a lot of other really cool stuff. So check her out if you don't know who she is. And maybe for Halloween this year she'll bring something back. She always has some fun stuff. Anyway, so getting into the questions. Start with the first one, which is favorite movie in the franchise. So I'm gonna have to give this one to the original. I have done other Scream videos. I know I did one where I rated the killers. I don't know if I rated the actual franchise itself yet, but I have rated the killers. And my favorite movie in the franchise is definitely gonna have to be the first. I don't know how it can't be your favorite. Least favorite. This is really hard because I really do love all of the films, but I'm gonna have to say the third, which I know everybody chooses the third one, and I actually love that movie. It gets a lot of shit, but I think it's still a great film. It's just not the best out of all of them. Unfortunately, number 3 is gonna have to be least favorite. Number 3, favorite killer. So I have rated like I said, I have done a rating video before, and my mind may have changed since then, I'm not sure. But for favorite killer, and I know I might get some flack for this, especially because I just said number 3 was my least favorite, but Roman from number 3, spoiler alert, Sydney's brother, I love him. I think that he was a great killer. I think that he was smart. I think he had an interesting motive. He mixed stuff up for the franchise, which I know a lot of people don't like, but it was the third movie in the trilogy. You sometimes gotta mix stuff up. So I really like Roman. I think that he's a great killer. So he's probably my favorite. Least favorite, I'm gonna have to go with Mickey for this one. A big thing with the Scream franchise is the motive. For Mickey, he really didn't have a motive. It was just straight up, I want to kill people, and I'm gonna blame it on the films. So I like his character, and I still like him. I just think he's probably my least favorite killer because he didn't really have any sort of motive, which really is, again, the big thing with Scream. It's having motive. It's revenge, really. And Mickey doesn't have that. He doesn't have some sort of revenge or even peer pressure like Stu in the first one. But he just kills because he wanted to kill and then was gonna blame it on the movies. So he's just my least favorite for that reason. Number 5 is favorite mask. Now this might seem a bit odd if you're not a big Scream obsessed person like myself, but there is actually a difference between the masks. Slight changes. They all are a little bit different, but they did use different masks for every film. So I will include a photo here to show you there is a slight difference not by much, but I'm gonna go ahead and say number 3. It's crazy, I keep picking stuff from number 3 for whatever reason, but I just happen to like, from these reference photos, that mask a little bit more. Not sure why, it's just appealing. Favorite original 3, so that being Sid, Gale, and Dewey. It's hard for me because I always want to include Randy and say original 4, but unfortunately he is killed off in the second film. He doesn't even make it past the second film, even though he is featured again in the third one, and of course mentioned in the fourth one as well, periodically, but doesn't actually make an appearance. So I gotta say, of the original 3, for me, even though of course Sydney is considered our final girl, the main protagonist for this film, I gotta give it to Gale. She's badass. Yeah, she's kind of a horrible person at the beginning, but as the franchise develops, so does she. She opens up her heart to Dewey. She lets him in and see the softer, more caring side of her as the franchise goes on, obviously. And I just think, but she still remains a badass, and even through everything that she's been through, she still remains like fierce and doesn't let anybody tell her who to be or what to do, and doesn't let the Ghostface killers really get to her, and I love her for that. I think she's just badass. So I gotta give it to Gale. Number 7. Do you like the TV series? I did, actually. I really enjoyed it. It is kind of odd because it seems to be set in a universe where the French movie franchise doesn't exist, which is kind of a bummer, but makes sense. You kind of have to. And so it's a whole new thing, different mask. It's really set aside from the films. Really doesn't have any connection to the movies, at least these first 2 seasons. They are doing a 3rd season, but they are basically resetting the franchise. It's set to have new storyline, new characters, which is kind of a bummer because things were starting to get real interesting on this show. But yes, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was really good. Of course, I missed the standard Ghostface mask, but I still thought, you know, since it's set aside, it's a different universe, it's apart from the movies, it makes sense to have a different mask. And since it's supposed to be a medical mask instead of a Halloween mask, it would make sense that it looked like that. Okay, number 8. Do you have any collectibles? Yes, clearly I do. You can see some of them here. I actually did a video on my Scream collectibles a while back. I may have gotten some more stuff since then. Maybe I will eventually do an update, but I will leave a link to that in the description below so that you guys can check that out and see what other Ghostface stuff I have collected. Twitter. And for those who are maybe new here and don't know, I do have a Scream tattoo, which I have a whole video on as well. Link in the description below. Okay, my sweater shoulder. Number 9, I believe. Do you want there to be a Scream 5? And who would you like to direct it if there was? I have mixed feelings about this. Obviously, I did want a Scream 5 to eventually happen because there were questions from the 4th, and it did kind of end like there could be a 5th one, but since unfortunately Wes Craven has passed away, rest in peace, I have so many mixed feelings. I feel like, and I talked about this in my Killer Flicks tag, that I feel like it would be best if someone from the franchise was brought in to direct it. Like, I don't know if Nev Campbell directs or has much experience with directing, but I think it'd be really cool to have a Scream movie directed by Sydney herself, Nev Campbell. That would be really cool. Or even just anybody who's worked within the franchise, maybe from the 1st to the 4th, who really knows the film, I think would be okay with. I also said John Carpenter would be interesting. I don't know his relationship with Wes Craven, so who knows? I just think it would be an interesting take as, you know, a king of horror himself, maybe taking on the Scream franchise, but who knows? To answer the question, yes, of course I would love to have another Scream. I'm just torn about it because of our dear Wes. And the last question is, if there was to be a Scream 5, how would you feel about the original 3 being killed? So, for those who don't know, there are rumors that if there was going to be a Scream 5, that the original 3, or at least some of the original 3, was not going to make it to the end. There's also been rumors that maybe Dewey was part of the original killing all along, or any of the killings all along, because he's sort of obsessed with Sydney, or at least was in the beginning. All of that I think is a very interesting idea. I like the fan theory behind possibly Dewey being a villain, but I like it as just a theory. I don't know as though I would want it in the films because I feel like we've come so far. There's been 4 of them. If there was a 5th one and it's finally revealed that he's one of the killers, I think it would just be a little too much. They'd be trying to do too much for shock value at this point. I think maybe it could have worked with the 4th one. You know, if they had maybe done, like, I'm getting off track, but maybe if they had done, like, you know, Dewey and Gail's relationship was kind of falling apart, and sad because it wasn't real life, and then Sid came back into town, or he found out Sid was coming back into town, and that reignited stuff. I feel like that could have worked for the 4th one, but I don't think it would work this far in. I would be heartbroken if any of the original 3 died, but I do think it would be an interesting way to end their time in the franchise. If they were going to continue the franchise with a new set of people, or, I mean, like I said, they are doing a 3rd season of the TV show, so I think that's already set to come out. But if they had done it perfectly, you could do the film, kill off the original 3, and be a leeway into the 3rd season of the TV series. But I don't think that's gonna happen. So, I mean, I would be heartbroken, but it would make sense. I mean, those guys have been doing this series have been doing this film for so long. I could definitely understand if maybe they wanted to be killed off so that they could get out of doing anymore. Yeah, I mean, it would be heartbreaking, but I think part of me would kind of be okay with it, you know, or at least, like, I want Sydney to have some sort of ending. I finally want her to be able to just either continue on in her life, ghost face free, something like that. I'm not sure. This is why I don't direct or write films, because I have no clue how you would continue. Yeah, I mean, again, for the 100th time, I would be heartbroken, but it would make sense. So yeah, those are all of the questions for the Scream tag, and of course I'm going to tag my girl Vicky over at Nightmare Maven, because this is her favorite movie and franchise of all time as well. I am going to tag Susan over at Horror Hal. I know you have a lot going on and you have a lot of other videos that you have been tagged in, so don't feel pressure to get this done up, you know. But I would love to see you do this tag if you've got the time to do it. And then Lee over at Drum Dums, I tag you to do this as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, tag anybody else who wants to do this. Please let me know if you do it. Leave it in the comments below. I'll add it to a playlist and then everybody can see everybody's. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you did enjoy this, please give it a big old thumbs up. make sure to hit the subscribe button for more horror-related content. Oh, and before I go, quick shout out to my Patreon peeps, Scuba Steve, Vicky from Nightmare Maven, and Horror Addicts gets a super thank you for being tier 3. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out Vicky and Horror Addicts and Horror Gal and Leah Drum Dums and everybody I mentioned. Links in the description below. Again, thank you so much for watching. See you later with another video.